time is 6:31. I will call the work session of the mayor and council for the city of Snellville, Georgia for Monday, October 25th, 2021 to order. We'll go through the regular business meeting first. We've got an invocation with Reverend Dr. Joan Murray. Anyone want to do the pledge?
I think Rebecca Mitchell should do that.
That's good. Representative Mitchell, you good with that?
I'm allowed to talk?
Yes.
Yeah.
Just this once.
Just this one. That's the extra.
All right.
She's recording from here.
Oh, is there one here?
And then we're administering the oath to Snellville Youth Commission members. And we're working on the oath.
Yes, we are.
We've got the minutes to approve. We've got Dr. Williams and Dr. Williams coming.
Doctor and Mrs.
Doctor and,
Oh,
it's actually Mr. and Doctor.
oh, Mr. and Dr., yes, I misread that.
I approve
Under the public hearing, we have the second reading on the annexation of UP and RZ for Scenic Point. I've got a note that this has been requested to be postponed to November 8th.
Yes, ma'am.
Do we handle that during the adoption of the agenda, or do we bring it up and table it?
I'd prefer to bring it up and then make a vote to postpone it.
That way we don't have to re-advertise, because you have to open up the public hearing to hear the response. Right?
And then, but we won't do public, we won't do
No,
public
there's no public
hearing.
hearing.
No, you don't have to.
Okay. So don't amend the agenda. We'll call it up and somebody make a motion.
Make sure you set the date certain. I'm giving you set the date certain.
That would be November 8th.
It is.
Yes.
Then we had the second reading on the UDO text changes. Does anybody have any questions or comments on that?
The only thing I saw is Jason had mentioned that there was a change for self-storage in HSB. Is that just pertaining to town center? I was racing through it.
What we did, and it wasn't just the TCO, like, part of it was, the bulk of it was to apply a little bit of definition where we kind of got in trouble with what is a mixed use. We did that. We also reduced the requirement for 2 stories in the TCO, which is now a very big part of the city, to a half mile out from the city center. We can amend that if we need to as it grows to create the right scale. But then we also looked at some of these use provisions that didn't necessarily come over from the zoning ordinance correctly to the use table. They weren't itemized and detailed enough, and so now we've done that. HSB, we further limited some of the uses, a lot of them within the town center that were just kind of outright. We made most of those special uses, anything that could cause any kind of harmony with the area. We added another one to the ordinance you have, and I got the original copy with Melissa or Chuck. Car washes, we made special use permits and not allowed in certain districts. And then we massaged some of the language to allow the parcels that have already been zoned. We know we have another project coming across the street to be allowed to be vested through the old ordinance and not some of the new ordinance, which we limited. Single-use buildings, the max used to be 45,000, which is a very big building and can change or alter the landscape of your town center. We reduced that now to 10,000 square feet unless you apply for an SUP. So to kind of limit just single, like, the last thing we would want is, a little medical is fine, but if you were to have every parcel turn into a surgical center and within a half a mile, wouldn't be good. So it just gives us a little more control as to what can come in, while also allowing for the people that have already zoned in just those 2 parcels to continue on with their plans that they previously had, including the new medical development. that's basically what we did, and we just cleaned up the use chart a lot, because it wasn't as clean as John Dennis likes it. So he's got 5,000 uses in there, they're all defined, and there's no questions. You can either do it or you can't.
Until there are.
Right, well,
Yeah.
and then we'll change it again.
Yeah, great.
But pretty common that we made it a year for our first text amendment. We'll probably have several more. I think Gwinnette's on number 26, so.
And that potential party in phase two, they've been pushing hard for a confirmation letter on their zoning. We've delayed them until this could be adopted. So we'll be very clear, they know what's coming, they're good with that. And so we'll be ready to send that letter tomorrow.
I thought that parcel was actually excluded from the town center overlay.
It was, good question, but when, that was at a time when the town center overlay was much different than the mixed-use district in which that resided. So instead of having conflicting codes, we took them out, but when we added the UDO back in, we made them all the same. So they came back into the town center overlay with really no ill effects except a couple things for the new development, yeah, the square footages. So we fixed that, basically set a grandfathering clause in as long as they were zoned, and they'll be good to go. We can get that letter out to them so they can push forward. And that's all they're really waiting on, and then clean up the other stuff that needed a little attention.
When we get to that second reading, you want to get up and.
Oh, of course, I'll give you,
Okay.
a little ball in time. Quick.
Okay, and then under new business, we have the second reading on the noise control ordinance. Did anybody have any final issues or questions?
Can we ask
I didn't read this
Representative Mitchell what our issues are?
one. Wait, is this the second reading? Oh, no.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
no,
it'll
no.
be for adoption.
I apologize.
Oh, that's okay. We can always amend it when you tell us
I'm
what's wrong.
outside the muni, so I'm safe.
And then that's it for the regular meeting. Any correspondence? Any city attorney's report?
Yes, ma'am, I've got a couple things, and then we'll need a brief executive session if we have time. It won't be the end of the world if we can't, but probably be good to have. Two things on non-exec. First is the issue we had talked about last meeting with the grass on the Patrick Malloy property. So that initially, I think the last report you all have is it was going to be on quality of life calendar last week. Initially, it had not been on the quality of life. It had been on actually, and still technically is on for Wednesday of this week. It had then been pushed forward to the quality of life calendar that was last week. Evidently, the notice went to Mr. Malloy's personal residence, where I guess he's been unavailable there. And his attorney, who actually I actually know his attorney, reached out during the hearing and got a hold of me. And so what I told him was I would bring their proposal to you all tonight, but that I was going to, until I got a blessing from you all, I was not going to have it removed from the calendar this Wednesday. Dave was able to send me some drone photographs, and there's been some confusion evidently with them because they kept saying, we're mowing it, we're mowing it, we're mowing it. And I think what's happened is they've been mowing the strip against the road and around the houses. But what everyone's getting upset about is all the other forest that's coming up on the inside in there, which is approximately 80 acres. They are more than happy to mow it. They're fine mowing it, if that's what you all want done. So the question is though, is that what we're going to do on all the properties? Are we going to require them to be mowed every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, treated for whatever? Or do we want them to just mow the areas that are close to the residences and then allow those areas to go back natural? I think the mayor mentioned the property behind the daycare center in Summit Chase. I think is an example of where they let it go back up and kind of reforest itself.
I did hear too today, just not directly to the issue, but something that hopefully will get us out of this predicament faster is that they have now contracted with PEC in Atlanta. Planners and Engineers Collaborative are really good to redo their plans. Apparently the guys that they got from Savannah were not good, there was cost overruns, so they've engaged with them, they're gonna resubmit the plans and get it started soon, hopefully.
Resubmit the plans like for changing zoning or?
No, just
permit.
put their name, their stamp,
Okay,
fix
gotcha.
they had some really bad sewer design, stormwater design that was running the price way up. They've redesigned it, and they're gonna go in for a revision with Gwinnett, then for us for just a few things, and hopefully that's gonna get them started, but,
And I've researched, I mean, this, Patrick Malloy, I mean, they're a big builder, I mean, their group. They've hired a really good law firm, good lawyer that I had to do some zoning work with. They were asking if we could put off the hearing so that they could put a proposal together with exhibits, you know, to do what you all want to do. I said, they're willing to mow it, it's not that they're trying not to mow it. I explained to them though that you all have to answer those, that all the constituents who are used to seeing the golf course there for the last 50 years. So, you know, I'm happy to do whatever you all want to do, I just need some direction. But I mean, it makes sense to me to, you know, to let them give us a plan. I mean, they're still gonna come back and do whatever, and we can set a court date for 30 days from now, or
So
however many days you all wanna set.
Is that exec session or is that? something
No,
else?
this is open, this isn't anything exact, this is open and,
The issues that people keep reaching out to me on are the overgrowth that's intruding through their fence into their yard. So if we could just get them to mow the perimeter up against adjacent properties, I think that would be enough, because,
anything visual from the public right away too.
well,
well, you're not able to see a lot of,
Well,
Well-
that corner at least, you know, hit 25, 30 feet, knock it down, like you said, maybe
Well,
50 feet.
what would be, probably would be easiest if that works for you, if that's the main issue, is to tell them to, you know, to cut all the perimeters down, any of the right of way, where it comes up to the road, and
Just,
then,
like you said, have them submit a plan, show them exactly where they're gonna cut, then we can hold them accountable.
but well, I could tell them to go ahead and get that cut again in those areas that you get stopgap
because
measure.
they have not cut along property lines, along the Summit Chase Homeowners Association members' property lines since,
Like on first fairway?
Yeah, it would be the first fairway.
yeah.
Okay, so are we, my instruction will be, to make sure I'm clear on this, so, all the perimeter of the property where it's abuts any houses, any right of way or
Right.
fences, anything like that, we'll continue it for 30 days. And in the meantime, they'll provide us a plan of what they would propose that we can circulate, and if you all don't like that, we can have you do something else. Does that work for everybody?
That, Jason?
I prefer that, because I don't think we want them in there whacking down 80 acres every 2 weeks, it's just.
Yeah, no,
But it needs to be
We
free
need to
from
do all
harm.
of the perimeter, not
They need
just-
to do right, we've been telling them that, that's why they're getting tickets. I mean,
Right.
it's pretty simple.
Okay.
So now that we got them on the hook, let's get them down on paper, and then every time they deviate, bing, 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 and then the judge can take care of it.
And we're at that point of the year that they probably can mow it and be done in the
Right.
spring.
Right.
Yeah.
You'll get a little fall, wintry growth, but it's
Yeah.
nothing
Yeah,
like
most of the
that.
stuff, and it looks worse now, because now it's turned brown. It's
Right.
dying off.
But we probably need to give them a number like 50 feet.
Say 50 feet?
Yeah, that's a few passes on a big bush hog, I mean, it's not gonna take them much time. That gives the neighbors plenty of space.
Yeah, I just want it policed along the fence lines in particular.
Okay. The other issue that has come up has been with dealing with out-of-state collection from the speed cameras. I was contacted by Red Speed, you know, about the issue that, of course, people that live in Georgia, if they don't pay their tickets, their registration gets suspended. Unfortunately, there's no reciprocity out of state. So they're contemplating having a collection agency. So, you know, because the way it was explained to me, they basically get like 3 bites at the apple when they get the tickets. It comes to them, there's dates set up that if they want to fight it, that they can come and contest it. And then if they don't, I guess it eventually goes into collections. They wanna hire a third party, I indicated that, you know, I don't think we need to be hiring a separate, we've contracted with them, you know, and they're the ones that handle all that, they can continue to handle that.
Was none of that handled under the state law, the provisions of
No.
state law?
We all have to.
Sorry, what? The provisions of state law about the speed cameras?
Yeah, red speed, I know,
I don't think we have
It's
anything.
civil. It's a civil
Yeah.
issue, which is.
Yeah.
yeah.
I
Do you
did tell her I
want
thought
the
it was,
change?
I did tell her I thought it was a good idea to put that on the ticket. I don't know if it's a necessity, but it would be a good thing if they start putting it on the ticket that says, you know, should you be out of state or you fail to win the collection, that you'll be subject to the collection agency and a fee that will be
Yeah.
put onto it. I mean, I don't think anyone likes the idea of, you know, a collection agency calling, hi, I want to call on behalf of the city of Snellville, Georgia,
Yeah.
because that's what they're gonna say. But on the flip side, you know, you're gonna have people that are gonna say, well, you know, you're not coming after the people that don't live in Georgia. So you've got that argument as well. Does that give anyone any heartburn or anything?
Any idea what percentage?
I've got another call, back with them about that. Unless
The last time I heard, it was gonna be $130 total, so we would still get the same amount. Red Speed would still get the same amount.
Oh, no, I meant the number of tickets we're talking about.
Oh, it's about-
Out-of-state violators.
Thousands.
Thousands of out-of-state?
Yeah.
Thousands.
Wow,
Really?
okay.
Mostly from Florida, on the list you sent me. Mostly from Florida. A lot of out-of-state Florida. We were 6 Kentuckians, but I wasn't one of them.
I guess South Carolina, Tennessee people know how to drive the speed limit.
Okay, so no one has any heartburn about
As
that?
long as we have them say, so people are warned that if you
Yeah.
don't pay, it could be turned over to a collection agency. I just would like to see people
I'd
warned.
like to have a safe collection action. Collection agencies.
Well, they're actually using a law firm out of Chicago to do the collections.
Out of
Chicago.
Great. That's the place.
Hey,
Elections on
Or it might be
Chicago.
Pittsburgh.
Head or else.
Yeah.
They got a guy named Guido on their paper.
Uncle Tony.
That's all I've got for my report, unless I do need just a brief feedback.
Okay, Butch, ongoing projects?
So I've got a few handouts for you on the town center progress item. A couple of really neat aerials, one east facing east, one facing west, where you can see into the deck. Very recent, I think this is probably Friday afternoon, Saturday, and you just get such a good look from aerial photographs. The deck right now is 68% complete. We have, I know you've been getting your updates, I hope. We do, we understand from Winter that all of the precast will be in place in the second or third week of November. And then we'll schedule it's called a topping out ceremony. We'll all go down there. We did not have a groundbreaking for the deck. And there were several people that we kind of left out recognizing in the original groundbreaking. So I'd really like to do something there for TSW and Winter and just acknowledge the
Do you
work
have
that they've
a
done.
date yet? What's your,
What's that?
do you have a date for that yet?
Well, you said you were gonna be going 18th through the 22nd.
Correct.
We'll make it after, we might have to make it after Thanksgiving. Because
Okay.
I think that's a council meeting date, and that 22nd, Thanksgiving is Thursday, we'll probably do it the next week.
Okay.
We'll just set it up with everybody. You also have, we have had several discussions lately with Thrive. They kind of came to the table late, which brings its own problems, but I think we've had a couple of very positive conversations with just about all of the affected parties. And I wanted to give you a couple of layouts here. The first is the layout that we are working with right now. That is the design that we went with when we thought it was going to be mostly, what's that?
The one with all the dimensions.
A11.
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 That's what was bid, and that's what is being expected to be built right now. The second one, and the only red line, copier didn't work too well. The only red line I need you to pay attention to is the thicker one on the bottom. In our discussions with TSW and the county and Ramon and his architect, we talked about taking a step back and seeing what could he utilize and work into as a phase one, if you will. And we talked about everything, we drew that red line, everything below it is a plan that he can work with, and in talking to Heather and TSW, our architect, it hopefully is one that we can work with. What we are doing right now, over the next couple of weeks, Heather is going back and basically scrubbing out everything that is in the original plan and trying to see how that impacts our cost, our potential savings, and then she's working with Ramon's architect. I'm not sure we'll have a cost for this work, but we have to do the scrubbing out, because even though we agreed on the last phone call to leave the plumbing exactly where it is, there's still major systems, HVAC and electrical, that we really need to see what the change would impact the plan and the cost. When we get that, we'll get back together, we'll go over that, we'll talk, and then we will meet with the contractor to see what kind of savings we could get. We know it's not going to be 100%, a dollar on the dollar, and see what a change order would be for bringing it up to Ramon's standard here. So it's we're trying to make it work. You know, everybody realizes this is something that we'd like to do, and you know, we hope we can make it work. But
So
that's,
what will happen above the red line then?
above the red line will be shell space,
Shell space, okay,
Which
which
is really
most
what
of it was
was,
going to be.
which was, it was gonna be anyway.
okay.
Whatever has to be in there for fire department, fire purposes, we'll have to put that in, but it's basically gonna be phase two for,
And essentially, in talking with Ramon, I mean, all of this in his plan is all still very flexible. He's, you know, this is kind of how they would lay out the space if they got to do whatever they wanted. And, you know, if we feel like the classroom needs to be bigger, or we need to move a few things around, I mean, they're fine with all of that. So, you know, this works for him just as well, that this would be shelf space in the back, and it would build out as they get more tenants, so.
doesn't impact the historic society, and still gives us a lot of open space, which can also be rented. But that's kind of where that discussion stands right now. Let's see. Moving down the line a little bit. Human resource issues. You can see Jason is back and healthy.
Yay, all right.
I don't think things could have gone better. And we have a new planner who actually came back for his second week of work, Josh Ferguson.
Oh,
who,
boy.
That's a relief.
is, I think, going to be a great addition. He's got a lot of knowledge, and I think he's going to work out well. Public works situation post Alan Snipes is settling nicely. We had a person to promote into the project manager job, and it looks like we're going to be able to bring on someone who will be very good with the landscape and outside management. Dispatch is still a concern. I know we had a potential candidate that did not make it through the process.
Right.
So we're not only have we had 2 leave, but we had a medical issue with another. So we're still down and just trying to make do right now. I don't know how many candidates we're looking at, but
We have 4, and 2 of them have experience, so we're hoping one of them will pan out.
That sounds hopeful.
maybe something can work out there.
Right.
Annexation, I also gave you a handout, a memorandum. Matt and I met with Roy at the end of last week and went over some of the work that he's doing. You can review that. Williams Place is a very good opportunity for annexation. I think we have some contacts there. We have a lot of information now, so we're ready to carry on that conversation. Sidewalk improvements. After the positive meeting with the county, followed up, they will need a certain level. We had a phone call with CPL, some early preliminary engineering to participate in the county grant program on Skyland and Pinehurst. CPL is getting us a proposal on that. So we want to get as much of the county dollars and their participation as much as possible. 78-124 landscape, not much there. District 1 reps are coming back to town next week. They've had a chance to review everything, and if you remember, I'm sure everybody remembers, the issues that we had at 78 and 124, we usually do well at the district level, and hopefully this carries on to the state level. They feel like they can bring the plan through Atlanta a lot better than doing it separately. So hopefully that's the case. UDO and alcoholic beverage code, really nothing new there. You guys know where that stands. ARPA funds, we did receive a little more information. I've given you one piece of information from the Department of the Treasury, which, although it's not very precise, it does give us some options when we look at budgeting dollars. We're also going back, and Barbara mentioned, we talked about this probably a month ago, but with starting this year's budget, we're going back and looking at the COVID affected year. It's a double-edged sword. We were very lucky that we got through without a lot of negative impacts on our budget. But that means that we probably cannot apply for a lot of reimbursement that we know is available. So but we're looking at it. We're looking to see what we possibly could apply for or apply the money to. The Briscoe Master Plan update. The online survey has been unbelievably good. A great response there. We're going to take all the input and work on a final report. Goodwin Mills should come back probably, I would say with Thanksgiving, probably that first meeting in December with a final report. Tax billing, all I can say is Melissa and her crew are doing a great job overcoming problems, answering questions. It's gone very, very well. We did get a question the other night out at Old Hickory, and I talked to that gentleman afterwards, and I mean, people are interested in it's a change, so people are going to be interested in what's going on. And overall, I think we've done very, very well.
Will there be a way for us to be able to, next year, send the bills directly to the mortgage companies, or will we never be able to do that?
I don't know what that would even entail.
I mean, we could check and see.
I'd like to look into it just to see if it's possible for us to do that.
We don't get a lot of it may take cooperation from the tax commissioner's office.
Well, and right now, we
Good luck.
uploaded the database to our webpage, and a lot of the mortgage companies, as they get used to it, will go online and grab that and pull it in and pull out their own anyway.
Okay.
So a lot of the times, they're still getting the information, just they're going out and getting it themselves.
Okay.
Because it's out there for them to get. So I've had several of them call me, so I know they're doing it.
Okay.
QOL, the noise ordinance will be complete tonight. And Todd, I'm not sure if your email went to everybody about the various cleanup groups in the community.
I hope so.
Okay. I had a conversation with Tina Fleming this afternoon, who is the Community Services Director for the county. And I couldn't give her a lot of information. I told her, I said, we're trying to gather the information. How many groups, how often they do it, what the volume's going to be, what makes sense for locations. Because we don't have a lot of room at the recycling center. We don't know if we need a 4-yard dumpster or a roll-off and how often it's going to be pulled. So, but her first statement was she would like everything to go very clean and beautiful. And I said, I'm not sure what the relationship is between various groups and clean and beautiful.
Right now, my understanding is when the groups do a cleanup, they stack all the stuff on the side of the road. They call it clean and beautiful, and someone from the county comes out. I'm getting a nod from State Representative Mitchell, and that alone costs a ton of money in manpower and time. Most of the pickups now, or the trash pickups, are using pickup trucks, so they could load the stuff in the pickup truck and bring it by the recycling center. And many conversations I've had with them over the years, that's what they would prefer. So if we had a roll-off that was designated for the county at our recycling center, if we provide the gatekeepers, because we've got them there anyway,
Sure.
take the information as they come in. If we provide a roll-off, or the county pays for a roll-off, or the garbage hauler of record for South Gwinnett, we can probably save the county and the city overall a lot of money, because a lot of the illegal dumping is going on because people don't know what to do with bulk items. So if the county is willing to place a roll-off, a 40-yard, we have the slots set aside for, I think, well,
There's at least 2 junk.
two or three that rotate depending on how full they are for city junk drop-off. If we can have one of those designated for county, and have them just bring it, anything they bring to that facility and put in the roll-off saves the county and the taxpayers money, because they're not having to send a crew out and take that time.
Saves us money too, because we're not sending Johnny Green out.
Exactly.
Billy Wayne to write it up and then get it out there.
Right, so whether it's local, whether it's within the city or whether it's outside, it will be a little bit of a gray area, whether it's in the city, whether it's not in the city.
I don't think that's gonna be a problem. I think public-private might be an issue.
If they're cleaning up private property and having the county pay to dispose of it.
Well, right now, when they enter a property and clean it up, they stack the stuff on the side of the road, and either the city or the county is having to go out and pick that stuff up. So if we can get half of it brought to us, it saves a ton of money, makes the streets look better, and
And you also might get some more recycled stuff, because they can drop off the 1 and 2
Yeah.
plastics and the cardboard.
Well-
Recycling, because that's open to everybody.
right. And I think depending on the group, the people who are out on any given day, they already do that. But it makes the community look better if we don't have garbage sitting,
No doubt about it.
So-
No doubt about it.
so, you know, it's just a solution to an ongoing problem, and maybe it'll morph into something more. Maybe the county will decide that they need other drop-off locations. But if we can, right now, there's no way for the groups to dump the garbage. I know a few years ago, we told Chad Livesey he could use the dumpsters here at City Hall, kind of unofficially. I don't think they've ever done that.
Not big enough either sometimes.
Well,
Those are full, you just
yeah.
don't know what you're getting.
questionable. So it's just a matter of, they document every location that they pick up on Facebook. So they already have pictures, they already have locations. So it's not a great leap to get them to provide that. Send it to the city, send it to the county.
But as far as you know, they're willing to haul it somewhere.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, I'll follow up with the county tomorrow.
Which I'm saying, QL, many of you all have seen that before. This has been
Oh, yeah.
that has been a big thorn for planning and zoning for a long
What's
time.
happening?
What is that,
Telling you?
Chuck? I can't see from here. but-
It is
Oh,
a car wash that has way more cars than they could ever wash.
It's on Lenore Church, just
Right.
past
It's
Springdale.
not just car washing going
So,
on
no.
there either.
No, it's
So
not.
they ended up being hit with 2,000 each. Both the property owner has to pay $2,000 and the business owner are paying $2,000, so $4,000 in fines imposed at Quality of Life Court this week on that.
So, and in order to clean it up.
And they got to get it, or we're gonna hit them again.
Oh,
Well,
Johnny
it's-
loves right.
What are all those cars sitting there?
It's being
Are
used
they
as a
for
car
the-
lot.
It's a fleet, they say their model is like they take fleets from car dealerships
And
and
let 'em
run
sit
it
there.
through. But then it's become more of a, like Todd said, a holding ground, and then all of a sudden there's 5, then there's 10, and it's like rabbits, 50, and then they're blocking the drive.
And they're all over, it's not like they're neatly parked.
No, it's
No,
awful.
no, no.
It's awful. We've been fighting
Like
with
an
folks. They
impound
used to
lot.
be up there right across from Jimmy Norton's sheds, you know, right there. They used to be right there. We ran them off from there, and then they located like literally a mile outside the city border. And then they tried to open up another shop across at that other gas station. We shut that down. But that's kind of a relic of, it's been a pain. Johnny's
So
been
is
way
that
more
3150?
I think so. I couldn't tell you the address.
It's coming on Google, it's showing like 3131, so I would say that's definitely it.
Okay.
It's on, you can't miss that much.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Just trying to find the property.
No, we found the property owner.
Yeah.
She showed up and
He's
she
looking
paid the
for it
fine.
again.
It's Canaan Enterprises is the actual name of the
Okay.
property owner. It's corporate.
yeah. That's, it's showing as 3150.
Okay. We done?
That's it.
Okay, and then, so now we're to executive session. So during the work session of